Hi everybody, this is Eric from Longbox Review at longboxreview.wordpress.com. I'm here today to do some reviews of comics that came out the week of August 21st. So as you can see here, this is my stack of comics from that week. I will not be reviewing all of them. I'm just going to review 4 for you, because the rest were like, they're okay. I enjoyed them. I read them. I'll bag, board, and box them, but I just wanted to talk about these specific 4. And to start off with, the reason I'm only going to talk about 4 is that Batman and Nightwing, the former Batman and Robin title number 23, there is a whole lot to talk about here. In fact, I'm thinking about maybe even devoting an entire podcast to this issue, as I did on Batman Incorporated number 13 not too long ago. Wow, this comic is one that I've been waiting for ever since they killed off Damian. To have Dick Grayson come back into Bruce's life after this tragic event, it's just a story begging to be told, begging to be read. So, what Peter Tomasi and Patrick Gleason are doing on this title is nothing short of phenomenal. If you're not reading this book, if you haven't been reading this book at all, shame on you. Shame on you. This is an awesome, awesome title. One of the best of the New 52. If you haven't picked it up, please. I know I'm kind of picking on you there a second ago, but I really implore you, go read this book. Go buy it in the trades. Go try and find the back issues. Either way, go read this book. I think it's one of the undersung titles of the New 52. Anyway, Batman and Nightwing. You can see the cover there. They're fighting against the grown-up Damian clone on the cover with Damian's leg in the foreground, which I really like it. It opens up with Batman going through a virtual simulation of the events that led up to Damian's death. Because he's punishing himself because he's Batman, and because he's trying to figure out how he could have done things differently and could have saved his son. And what parent wouldn't go through that? Of course, he fails in that it's just a couple pages. He fails at the attempt, and then we find that that Alfred has called Dick Grayson in to talk some sense into Bruce, right? Dick asks him, how long has it been, Alfred? Almost 4 days nonstop. I've tried everything. He will not shut it down, Master Richard. And then we get another simulation where Batman. Okay, so Batman goes through the simulation again. He gets shot by the Leviathan acolytes. You can see there looks like he's mortally wounded, and he's crawling to Robin after he's just been stabbed by the grown-up clone. They have a little tete-a-tete, and the killing blow is coming from the clone to Batman, and then Batman says, "Go to hell," pushes himself away while he's cradling Damian, and he left a parting gift from my son, he says, and it's an explosive, and so the clone's destroyed, but so is Batman. And you can see here's the reaction after the simulation is over from Bruce. And Dick is there, talking to him a little bit. Bruce is like, so you brought Dick in to talk some sense into me. And then basically, Dick says, "Who said anything about stopping you, Bruce? I'm going in with you." And Alfred is aghast. But Richard, that's not, this is a 2-player from Dick? It can be, Bruce says. "Why are you doing this? We agreed that, because I know when he can't be talked off the ledge." And he looks at Bruce and says, "Let's do it." So they go in together, and one page of basically the fight, and both of them, Batman and Dick Grayson, go after the clone, and nice, grand 2-page spread there, which I thought was awesome. The fight ensues. Things are not going well. The clone is about ready to kill Damian again. Batman throws Nightwing this staff, not a staff, what do you, wow, I don't know my weaponry. This thing. I can't think of the word. Anyway, so there's this great, let's see, the clone says, why bother trying to save her, meaning Ellie, that one character that I was really confused about at the end of that issue, or in that issue where Damian dies, when you can't even save yourself. And then there's this awesome, there you go, look at Bruce, look at his face, and you get that sound effect, that shunk, and you think that the clone has stabbed Damian again, and oh, it turns out actually it was Dick killing the clone and saving Damian. So, 2 important things so far. We've seen Bruce kill the clone. Now we've seen Dick kill the clone. They've both killed, which, given the circumstances, I totally understand as a father, trying to save your child from somebody who's going to kill them. I have no problem with that. But given Batman's code and the code that Dick himself has adopted, to me that's just huge that they would do it. It's a simulation, doesn't really happen, yeah, but this is supposed to simulate what they would have done in this situation. Both of these guys, whose parents were murdered, and they put on the costumes to avenge their parents' murder, and also to bring justice to those who can't help themselves, resort to killing in the end to save one of their own. To me, that's kind of a big deal. Anyway, it ends with, there you go, Batman and sons together. And then Bruce realizes, he's got to turn this tragedy into something good, something better. Oh, sorry, this is Dick saying this. You have to go out each and every night and be Batman. Bruce says, I may have to live with Damian's death, but I don't ever have to accept it. And Dick Grayson says, that's all anyone can expect from a father who had to bury his son, Bruce. And then we get the most heartbreaking part of the story. You think it's kind of that chapter of it kind of ends on a happy note, but then we get Alfred contemplating the simulation himself, and he does it. He goes into the simulation, and this is where instead of Dick and Bruce saving Damian, Alfred stops Damian from going in the first place, which is what Alfred has been feeling guilty about ever since it happened. So he saves the boy and tells himself, as he's basically tucking Damian in, I'll never forgive myself for letting you leave the cave that night. And then you get this beautiful scene here where Bruce comes in and finds Alfred there. And the simulation ends, and Alfred comes out and says, "Oh God, Bruce, I'm so sorry. Bruce, I'm the one who's sorry for not seeing how deep your pain goes, Alfred. I was too selfish to realize we both lost a son. Alfred, can we shut this damn thing off, Master Bruce?" "Yeah, Alfred, let's." And then turns it off. such a great comic. These are the kinds of stories that I love to read, and they're so few and far between. Which maybe that's a good thing. If comics were like this all the time, then it would probably lose the importance, I guess. But God, such a good issue. Such a good issue. Okay, next up. So, Six Gun. This is number 33. I just wanted to point this out. When I first started reading this title, I thought that Drake Sinclair would be the focus and the most interesting character in the story. Come to find out that it's not Drake Sinclair. He's actually the supporting character of this story. The most interesting character is Becky Moncrief, who possesses one of the 6 guns. Drake has his own as well, but this story is really about her. And you think that this story is set in the Old West with a bunch of supernatural elements thrown in for good measure, which makes for an interesting story. But you think about the perception of female characters of that time, and most of the time you get kind of a 19th century the swooning woman, the character that has to be taken care of by the man. That is not what's going on here. Becky came into this situation not knowing what was going on. It was her. Mr. Oddfellow's thoughts can clarify for me, but I believe it was her father or grandfather. Her father, I think it was her father, who owned one of the guns, and when he died, she took it, and thus her journey began with the 6 guns. She is on a spirit journey in this current storyline, and she's being pursued by these supernatural elements out to kill her. Well, then she runs into these. I'm not quite sure what this situation is, but these ghosts of some of these characters that do exist or have existed in the title, including the general, who is dead, but not in this spirit world thing. Anyway, so you kind of expect the way that people are talking about Becky, that she should be afraid, that she should be basically begging for her life, and that's not what she does. She's not afraid. She even tells them that. And there's a point where the spirit things that are coming after her attack the mansion in which they are all residing, and she picks up the general's gun, which is her gun in reality. I think that's right. Anyway, he warns her, don't pick it up. It'll consume you basically. And she picks it up, and she's like, no big deal, right? And everybody's like wide-eyed that she can do this. And then she tells the general that, hold on a second, there we go. Me and your boys might as well go out to greet them, and you get this great splash page of her leading the general's men out. Another great character here. I'm glad I've stuck around. There's been a couple times where I thought I would drop this title, and then Colin Bunn and Brian Hurt changed my mind, and they've done that a couple times now. Not that the point where I decide that I think I'm going to drop it. It's bad comics. It's certainly not that. It's just sometimes I just look for titles to drop because I spend too much money. But this one constantly surprises me, and you should check it out. Alright, next up is Superman Unchained. This is number 3. Finally, the plot gets going. We learn a lot more about this new superpowered character. His name is the Wraith. He's an alien like Superman, and we get to learn a little bit about that and what he's been up to. And when you first see him at the beginning of this, this title, he's kind of being protective of Superman after General Lane has these weapons, this technology that's kind of hurting Superman a little bit. And he keeps telling Superman, "Stay down, Superman. It's easier." And of course, Clark doesn't, because he's this hot-headed Superman now, which I've talked about before, I think, on the podcast. Maybe even here in the videos. I like it. I like this interpretation of Superman in the New 52. Anyway, the Wraith proves to be just as powerful, perhaps more so than Superman. Well, that remains to be seen. But here, you get this scene where, he's basically stopping Clark from doing any more damage. They get into a little tussle, as you can see here. And then the Wraith kicks him from, I believe it's Salt Flats, Utah, into... Or no, not Salt Flats, Utah. Wherever Salt Flats is. I thought that was... I don't know where we are. Utah desert. Yeah, I think that's what this is. Although the map is kind of off. Yeah, the Utah Salt Flats. But then... I guess... I don't know. This map looks really weird. I don't know. Never mind. Anyway, there's this place called Needles Overlook, which reminded me of the Badlands. I don't know. I should have looked that up. Where's Needles Overlook? Where's this place at? Anyway, the Wraith kicks him there so that they could talk, so that you don't have to have this useless superhero or a superpower being fight. Calm Superman down, and they go back, and you get to the Wraith shows him where he lives, which is this underground bunker. And I get a little bit more of the history, why the Wraith is here, what he's been doing. He's been helping the government quell hotspots around the world over time, since 1938 essentially. And that ties into the first issue where we see him dropping out of the bomb that hit Nagasaki. So it wasn't an actual atomic bomb, it was the Wraith. Then there's and there's this scene between General Lane and Superman where he calls Superman a coward, basically because Superman won't get involved in like political squabbles and other things like that and save more people. And from General Lane's perspective, Superman's doing it because he wants the accolades from the public. So he saves cats from trees and things like that, instead of going after the real bad guys of the world. Now that's General Lane's skewed vision of the world, but that's where he's coming from, and also to contrast the Wraith with Superman. Anyway, there's this thing, the Ascension, accessing some Soviet XRs, heading to Japanese airspace. The XRs are drones. So Superman and the Wraith go to Tokyo to stop these drones from wreaking havoc. When they get there, Wraith says, I've been looking forward to this for a long time, Superman, fighting by your side. It's a shame, really. Superman, what is? Wraith responds that soon I'm going to have to kill you. Dun dun dun. End of the issue. Which I felt that was kind of detracted from this interesting budding relationship between these two superpowered beings, but I guess we'll see where it goes, where it ends up. Alright, and then finally, one of the best titles from the New 52, and best titles overall from any company, Wonder Woman, number 23. Look at that great Cliff Chang cover. Look at that. I love Cliff Chang's work. It's great stuff. So this is essentially one long fight scene interspersed with some dialogue between Wonder Woman and her compatriots and the firstborn from Hera and Zeus, who is a bit of a bastard, and basically he's basically a big child throwing a hissy fit because he was locked away in the earth for so long. I guess I don't know. in the there's a really cool scene in here where War, the god of war, Ares, calls up all of these fallen soldiers throughout time. I'll show that to you. Look at that. To fight the firstborn. Orion, the new god Orion, is still around fighting against the firstborn. It doesn't go well for him. And then Wonder Woman, in the past, I can't remember what issue it was, but there's an issue of Wonder Woman where she fights Athena and takes off her gauntlets. And you find out then that when Wonder Woman takes off her gauntlets, shit's going to happen. And she does this here. And then, interestingly, I don't remember if this happened in that issue that I just mentioned, but look at her eyes. They're glowing. And she's got this power coursing through her now. And there's some talk about, of her losing her control and what that may happen. Anyway, then you get, here's a better shot of that where she's got that glow in her costume there. That's kind of neat, that I thought. Anyway, she fights against the firstborn. She says, "You are a monster, selfish, cruel, entitled. You're everything I'm not, and if I have to destroy you, I will not hesitate." And that's been Wonder Woman all along in this series. She's an Amazon. She's a warrior. There's a scene in, I think it's Justice League, one of the Justice League books during Trinity War, where she's having a conversation with Superman, and remarks how that's why her rogues gallery isn't as big as Bruce's and his meaning Superman's, because she does what she has to take care of it. Wonder Woman is badass. Anyway, again, just like with Orion, the fight with Firstborn does not go well. And Wonder Woman is apparently knocked unconscious. Firstborn is going after Zeus's latest child, the baby that Wonder Woman and this group has been protecting ever since issue 1. So here we are 2 years later, and this storyline is still going on, which I think is awesome. War gets involved and fights the firstborn a little bit. And this, so here's this frail looking old man against this hulking god or demigod. I guess he's a god technically, right? I don't know. Anyway, the fight is not long-lived, unfortunately. Diana comes to, and she proclaims war was right. Sometimes it's best not to be who we are, but who we aspire to be. And she's reaching for the gauntlets. And then there's some dialogue between Firstborn and War. Diana goes towards them. And then there's this interesting scene here where Diana's gauntlets power up, I guess, or surge of power. I'm not quite sure. And then she runs the Firstborn and War through with a spear. Spear. That's what Dick Grayson had. A spear. She says, "War, there was basically no choice." War agrees, "No other way but the warrior's path you took. I'm proud of you. I would have done the same. I'm sorry for that, and for the burden you must now shoulder. And I won't be around to gloat watching you live up to it." And she says, "Please call me little one," because that's what he's been calling her all this time. And he just responds with, "Wonder Woman, keep me in your heart." And Firstborn starts to get up, and what's her? I forget the woman's name who is the mother of this latest infant, Abby, I think. I can't remember her name. Anyway, she knocks him over with a stone pillar or wood or something. I'm not quite sure what. I guess it's wood. She's holding it very easily. But that knocks him out, I guess. War is dead, and then Hell shows up to bring his brother to the underworld. And Wonder Woman asks, "Are you here for the firstborn as well?" And Hell says, "That depends. Are you going to finish him?" And she responds, "There's been enough killing today." And Hell goes, "You'll make an interesting god of war." And then, so, I think a lot of comic books would have ended the story right there, but Brian Azzarello goes on for another page and a half, where basically Wonder Woman carries the dead body of War out to the boat so that she and Hell can take him to the underworld. And this is just this great page here. See that? And there's no dialogue. It's just this wonderful extended scene showing that, and that's the end. Wonder Woman as the god of war. What the hell is that going to bring now? I can't wait for the next issue and to see what the next story arc is going to be. So, awesome book. Again, like Batman and you should be reading Wonder Woman because it's one of the best of the New 52. And like I said at the beginning of this, one of the best of comics. One of the best comics out there. So, there you go. That's my look at some of the comics I read during the week of August 21st, 2013. Let me know what you think about these comics or any others from that week. Like I said, I have all these that I didn't talk about. So if you want to talk about, I don't know, Avengers, Batwoman, the final issue of the Legion of Superheroes, Revival, which another great book you should be reading. Superior Spider-Man and Exo Man of War from Valiant. Any of those, if you want to talk about those, or ask me about them, or provide comments about the issues I did read, or give me some responses about the things I said about those issues. Either way, you can email me at You can email me at longboxreview@gmail.com, or you can leave comments here underneath the video. Thanks for watching. Bye.